All right, we're recording. Ready to go.
All right, we recording.
Yeah, baby.
Look, man, check it out. What's blapping? Welcome to another episode of Watch Me Develop podcast.
Oh, it's there now.
As you can see, we done came up a little bit. We might not be together in person, but we are definitely on the interwebs and we connecting like West Side Connect Gang, BB Bang
On that
in
good
here.
Wi-Fi.
And we got Wi-Fi and air horns. You know what I'm saying? We got sound effects. So you know what I'm saying? That make up a little bit for us being in person. However, man, let me just go ahead and give you the proper introduction. My name is Don the Blaptist, aka The Joke, aka West Coast Dad, in the building here for Watch Me Develop podcast. And as you know, I'm only 1/3, so let me introduce you to the other 2/3 of the podcast. I got none other than the producer, production media extraordinaire, John Butcher Jr. Say what's up, man.
What's happening, baby? I'm a little tired. I've been here for 12 hours. I'm fading away.
Little tired. But it's all right, man. You good. You're going to get rejuvenated. Why? Because the same spirit that raised Jesus from the dead is on the inside of you, giving life to your mortal bodies.
Well, man, I need an organ sound effect.
Yeah, man. You need to download them good old gospel chords on that organ. You feel me?
Right.
And so the other third of the Watch Me Develop podcast is my man, my ace boon coon, Stephen Joshua Bonds, inventor extraordinaire, ergo dog in the building.
Oh yeah, brother.
AKA the barber of Susoon. You hear me?
We doing it all. The AKAs of its AKAs is 1/3, and we all, doing it all. We all doing it all and doing a lot.
3/3.
3/3, aka one whole. You feel me?
Right.
Yeah, man. So we're glad to be back, man. Thank you guys for tuning in. Those of you guys that are listening to this on the audio, thank you for giving us a listen. Pray you guys have safe traveling mercies as you guys are listening to us on the highways and byways.
Mm-hmm.
We got a good show for you today, but before we jump into our special guest, we just want to do a quick check-in real fast. So JR, tell us what's good, man. What's going on?
I mean, man, today was the first day back at Crunch, and I kind of came over my whole I don't want to have to go all the way to Fairfield and then come all the way back to Vacaville and then go all the way to Susoon for work. Came with all the excuses. Man, I packed me a bag and took a shower at the Crunch.
Man,
so,
you brave.
Hey, I had to do what it do, bro. Got in, got a nice little chest pump in, got some, went, showered, left, got some coffee, and I felt good about my day. Now, around 2:00, though, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. Around 2:00, I was ready to crash. But
bruh, I got beef with Crunch because I got up this morning to go and somebody fumbled the bag. Straight up, I'm letting you know. I got there and I'm like, why is it dark? Why are there no lights on inside? Whoever the opener is, hopefully you listen to this podcast. Opener. Come on, man. You got one job. Make sure them doors is open so I can go in and get my gains at 5 a.m. You hear me?
Don't
let it happen again.
I'm a part of the 7 a.m. crowd. I'm sorry.
Man, yeah, I was upset. Sat in the parking lot for about 10, 15 minutes. They still wasn't there. And I was like, man, you know what? Praise God. I got enough at the house so I can make it do what it do. So I went home, went to the dungeon, to the spot, and got it in. So
fire.
It is, man. Stephen Joshua Bonds, man. Tell us what's up. What's going on, man?
Man, y'all, I'm coming off a much needed week-long break. Most of like my clients, everybody was surprised to know that I was gone for a week because we don't really do vacation like that, but it was much needed. It was like a week long Sabbath. Recognize just how important uh, getting away is, vacationing is, and like observing the Sabbath because I've been back, and since I've been back, I've been going so much harder on work. It's
Mm.
ridiculous. But it's because I was ready to work. It took me a minute to get out of work mode. I'm not gonna lie. Like 3 days into that week long vacation, it took me 3 days to actually turn off work mode. But yeah, you feel me? Balancing it, it just made me realize I need to take vacations more often. Yeah,
Absolutely.
happy. Yeah,
Air horn for that.
Absolutely, bruh. Absolutely, man. You got to learn how to divert daily, withdraw weekly, and abandon annually. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? That's what you
Oof.
do, so that way you can make sure that you recharge your batteries. You feel me?
facts,
Even God
facts,
rested.
You
facts.
dig? For
Same.
real. Yeah, man. So for me, as y'all know, the last week or so, Cali Fresh Prince did a rollout for our partnership with Big Co.
Mm.
That's a good place for the air horns. Me, 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 me,
Oh,
me.
me, 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 me,
Yeah, so we got the
me.
rollout for Big Co. So with a lot of people, man, we had like a great response, man. A lot of people have started showing their report. I mean their support. A lot of other people have been like, we're gonna catch up with you soon. So we got orders that are coming in, man, just supporting Big Co. Getting Big Co to the show. You feel me? And
Mm.
so
Yeah, baby.
what a lot of people didn't realize, man, we're gonna do better as far as like communicating this, but what we have in the line, man, are some just general support items and stuff and merchandise that people can pick up, but we also have some limited edition apparel that Big Co is putting out. So that way when he gets to D1, you know what I'm saying, it's already going to appreciate value. People are not just going to be buying merch and just supporting Big Co, but they're also going to be making an investment because it's automatically going to appreciate as he goes to each level. So he's going to go to D1 and then he'll go to the league. And so we got some dope stuff, man. So far we got one design of shirts out. We got the general I support Big Co shirts for all our general supporters that are out there. And then we're gonna roll out another design actually tonight, dropping another design on the website. So califreshprince.com. Make sure you guys check it out. We're rolling out a new set of designs tonight. Also including bucket hats and trucker hats. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? We're going all the way, man. So yeah, doing it big, man. That's pretty much what I've been involved with over the last like week or so since we met. So yeah, man, good things, man.
Exciting times, man.
Exciting
That's
times, man.
that's real. Though. That's like buying these shirts is gonna be like buying Bitcoin early. You feel me? Buying early Apple.
Exactly. Except there ain't gonna be no crash. Ain't gonna be no crash. You feel me? Ain't gonna be no crash. I mean, just straight up, and just letting it.
Right.
You did. But nah, man, on the real. So let's get into this episode tonight. So Josh,
Ooh,
I hand it over
yes.
to you because we got, you know what I'm saying? We got the ooh wee, right?
The the ooh
The
okay.
Gems,
ooh wee.
gems,
So go.
So yeah,
gems.
we got a real special guest for y'all. I think the dopest aspect about this guest is that he is also a supporter. You know, he taps in and he watches us every week. He always hits me up, lets me know how the episodes are going, what he thinks about it, what hit him that week. So I'm excited to have him on because of that. But we just have so many talented guests, so many talented supporters. But this one in particular, y'all, this man, him and his wife actually have been building their social media platform for the last few years. And I think a couple weeks ago, they hit a major milestone right from their living room. They reached 1 million people in less than 2 weeks. I'm gonna let
Wait,
him give
hold up, Josh. You said they reached how many people from where?
1 million people from their living room.
From the living room.
I don't even have the stat right. He's gonna give y'all the exact stats. He's gonna let y'all know how he did it. But he just has a lot of game. He's also a brother in Christ and a believer. He's a stay-at-home dad. You know what I mean? Like he just he has he has so many different angles and so many reasons that he could use to be excuses, but instead he uses them to propel him forward. It's none other than the homie CB Chris Boyle. What's happening, buddy?
What's going on, my guys? Wow, that was quite the intro. You know, that one I was feeling a little nervous before, and then after that intro, I was like, oh man, I really got to come correct. But yeah, thank you guys. First off, thank you so much for having me. This is really, really exciting to have on. And like Josh said, I am a big fan. I do watch all the episodes. I love what you guys do. It's kind of funny, like being here now. Like normally I sit and listen and I go, what would I say if I was sitting there when he said that? Right? I do that all the time. And most of the time you guys get me, bro. I'm like, I got nothing there. I'll give that all to JR, right? He'll handle that one. I'll let that one done. But yeah, so it's super exciting to be here. Super excited to chat through everything. This is really cool. Josh has been really pushing me outside of my comfort zone, just like you guys all have been doing this, which is really cool to watch. Did we freeze up there?
Yeah, we froze for a second. You good? One more time. You're good.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I said I don't know if you guys want me to jump into like a little bit of an intro about me or how you guys kind of want to take this first step, but I'm excited.
Yeah, Chris, sure. tell us who you are, where you from, what you do.
Yeah. So I'm also from Fairfield, from the Bay Area. Grew up out there, been out there was there my entire life, all the way up until about 3 years ago. We moved out to Florida, and then from Florida, now we're out in Arizona. So we've been jumping around a little bit. I'm a little bit of a dabbler. I dabble in a lot of things. I do photo and video. I've been doing that for 6-7 years now. So it's always been, I lived off of for a little while, but it's always been kind of a hobby that I've done to really kind of utilize in other spaces of my life that I'm trying to kind of move forward in, right? So right now it's with the wife as an esthetician. I do photo and video for her so we can kind of help her take to the next step, but it's always been something I've utilized in whatever business I'm kind of pursuing. As a whole, I'm passionate about other people, right? I love people. I love when people are starting businesses. It's really my thing. It really is what connected me to Josh years and years ago. Sat down in the chair for a cut and immediately found out it was really early on in the entrepreneurial days, and just everything about it was like, dude, let me know what you need. I got you with anything, photo, video, whatever you need. And then we've connected since then. But just in general, it's kind of the reason why I support and love you guys. Right? I just love people who are taking a step out of their comfort zone and pursuing something that's not the norm. Right? Really excites me. I feel like I feel like in the past, I've struggled with my own ideas of like what exactly to create, who to make myself. And I realized that God has put me in a really good position to encourage and help others. Right. So that's kind of something I've always been really interested in, of somebody who's like, I've always just been a phone call away from talking to you for 3 hours about whatever crazy business you have. And even with the show, right, if I had your guys' direct contact, I might be hitting you like, hey guys, I would tweak this week, right? Or, hey, I really love this. But instead, Josh just gets to hear it every Wednesday evening or Thursday morning. But yes, I think that's one of my strengths. I think it's something God's really blessed me with. This is something I've also kind of stepped into really within the past couple of years of going, the past year, I'd say, of going like, why does God have me here, right? Like, what is his purpose for me? And I think a lot of us as believers are always kind of like, okay, maybe it's this, maybe it's in worship, maybe it's stacking the chairs on Sunday morning, right? And it took me a little while to realize is like, there's a lot of Christian entrepreneurs, and a lot of them are too afraid because of culture. And I feel like even Christianity sometimes, I don't want to say the church is a really broad statement, but doesn't always push people outside their comfort zone, especially as a Christian, right? It's hard to go, what is my business going to be? How do I impact the world if I open a grocery store, right? Mm-hmm. Or a t-shirt company.
Chris, yep. Let me slow you down real quick, because you just said something that I'd like to see if you can elaborate a little bit more on what you meant by, like, you know, being a Christian creative or entrepreneur, and like maybe how sometimes there's hindrances or things that get in the way, like you were saying, like the culture or whatever, you know, the things that kind of get in the way and like maybe make us a little hesitant from just fully pursuing it full on. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I think there's a few things there. I think one, as a Christian, sometimes we go, if it's not a Christian business, should I be doing it? Right? Like, am I fulfilling what God's purpose for me, if I'm not putting like a Bible verse on what I'm creating or whatever my business is? Right. So I've just kind of noticed a lot in the past that, to me, I just, growing up with a lot of Christian friends and people around me, I grew up in the church, just realized that a lot of people didn't take that step. And to me, there's a whole world out there of places that we should be in as believers. And I think entrepreneurs should be one. But yeah, I do think that, I don't know
Mm,
if it's maybe the church wants you kind of, I don't know, it's probably more general society. I can't say the church. Every church is different. Groups are different. People are all different. But it kind of comes back to the culture as a whole it doesn't really encourage entrepreneur. Like, it does, but it doesn't, right? School
Yeah.
leads us all into college. It leads us all into trades, or a lot of women, maybe families, kind of what culture tells you to do or what society tells you to do. And I think as Christians, just with people I've talked to over time, I think it's just even more scary, right? Especially if you don't have a Christian T-shirt or you're not starting a Christian clothing brand, because that seems really easy for everybody, right? Like, yeah, I got this how I spread the word. And to me, I always go, guys, there's a whole world of people you're missing by only putting a giant cross across the T-shirt, right? And there's nothing
Mhm.
wrong with that. I wear some shirts that have a big pray across or God wins, but I think the subtleism, is really where, a lot of believers could really take a step to go. You have all these gifts, and you could reach people and love people, and it doesn't have to be yelling at everybody about everything has to say God across it, right? And I think even
mm,
myself as an entrepreneur, I've always struggled with what sectors can I work in, that feel like people would never look at me like, oh, you're a Christian, you can't do that, right?
Mm.
mm,
Then us Christians, we work for Amazon or we work for Facebook, and it's
Mhm.
all okay. But so I think something I've struggled with, and I think I was raised in kind of an older kind of Baptist church, and I think that was a lot of it was the people you're around, and if you're around people, and I know it's crazy to say, right? Like Jesus, well, that's all he was around, but for me, I really felt like I couldn't like openly say I'm with a rapper, right? Like, I'm hanging out with these rappers who smoke and drink, right? Or I go to the clubs. Not that I do any of that, but just being around them, I felt like guilty by association, right?
Mm.
And as a Christian, and then I realized later in life is not that's who I need to hang out with, but those are the people that need it, right?
mm,
Those are the people that, and then now I feel like I should assert myself, in people that I can just come on and just love on, but just pour into in a way that's not just, oh, I'm going to drop Bible verses on you. Like, no, I'm
mm,
just going to give you whatever you need, and just what's wrong with this guy? Why will he just not shut up about marketing strategies
Mhm.
or creative direction? And so I realized that's kind of like I said, it's fairly new of where I realized where God has really pushed me in a direction. Right.
Mm.
mm.
Like I said, at any time, please cut me off as you guys watch the live and as we're already started here. I just go sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's actually one of the dope things that I've realized about Chris, because as he continues to go and unfold, like everything that he gets into, like I noticed that you love people in everything that you do. Like it's not capped off in a particular building or an aspect or area of life. It's at the end of the day, like we've said before, entrepreneurship is serving people, and we find different niches and different audiences to serve people in. Um, but man, a kind of one of the most unique dynamics I think about watching you be an entrepreneur is the fact that you're doing it from home while watching your son. We all have families. Everybody on this podcast is married with kids, but you're the only, it's like stay-at-home dad. Can you
Yeah.
explain a little bit about the challenges of what that's like and how you maneuver through entrepreneurship?
Yeah, that's an interesting point too. I remember a few weeks back, you guys talked, or maybe it's been a little while. They'd start to flow in. I know with you guys too, which episode, but talk about imposter, right? And I know it's one thing my wife used to yell at me, and I'm better at it now. But when people would ask, what does your husband do, or Chris, what do you do? I'd always say, oh, I'm a stay at home dad, right? And I'm working on like 7 things at a time on the phone, on my computer, just always balancing the life between, I have a toddler, he hasn't started school yet, but being a very assertive and their understanding, listening, loving dad, but then also trying to develop businesses, right? So this is something like pretty new. I'm glad you asked it, because I feel like questions like that push me out of my comfort zone too, because I have really struggled. I feel like if 6 months ago you asked me, Chris, what do you do? I would have said I'm a stay-at-home dad, right? And then anybody around me, and not to like toot my own horn or give myself a pat on the back, but I do a lot. I'm working in a lot of different areas because I love people so much. It's one of my downfalls is I like to help anybody who ever comes in contact with me. I want to take you from 0 to 100, with or without a paycheck at the end, just because I believe in people. But yeah, so it has been, as we all know, as parents, it's a struggle. Fortunately for me, I just got one. Say fortunately, because after I know the two is when you really start to slow you down, right? But yeah, so I've been at home with my little guy for it's coming up on 3 years now. I've been a stay-at-home dad, and it's been a crazy life change. I went from being the full-time, kind of provider for the family, and then I realized, at the time it wasn't really God, but I think it was God kind of pushing me away from kind of bad habits and just getting stuck into the 9 to 5, and I got to make 6 figures, right? I know it's one of the other, societal things is like our whole goal is we got to hit 6 figures. When you hit 6 figures, you're good. And I chased that down as a family for a while. And I think society put a lot of pressure as me as a dad, is that's what you have to do, right? The first time I told the family that I was going to stay home and the wife was going to go work because she has a passion and something that she just needed to do and loved it, everyone was like, well, you can't do that. Well, how does that make you feel? And I'm like, it makes me feel amazing that I can support my wife who has something. And at the time, I didn't, right? I didn't have that, like, this is what I'm going to do, right? I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I'm going to be a photographer. It was like, I got, please help, right? And so when we did that switch, it was really rough for a while, right? A lot of people, and that's why I think my whole identity became a stay-at-home dad, was this is who I am. And I was dabbling in helping people, but that was always like, oh, I just help some friends do something, right? Or I mess around with this a little bit, rather than me pursuing something, and also feeling comfortable that I can be a good stay-at-home dad, right? I think that's also a lot of pressure too, is you don't want people to look at you like, oh, you're on your computer all day. Do you hang out with your little guy? What do you guys do? But yeah, so I think it's definitely been an interesting journey. I feel like I'm really in a stride right now. He actually starts kindergarten at the end of the month, so we can have another conversation in 2 months and see where my life is gone, right? Because I feel like it's, that is the full-time job. It really, to me, like you guys, you work your full-time jobs and then you're up till, midnight, right? Or you're up early so you can pursue the things that are important for us to be the best dads and the best parents we can be, right? And that's one thing that I always keep in mind too, is that I'm not doing this necessarily just for me, but I want to show the little guy, right? He's getting older now too. He saw a video the other day. Oh, did you shoot that while I was sleeping? I said, yeah, me and mom were working last night while you were sleeping. Like, oh, okay, right? And to me, that's the coolest part of it all, right? To watch our little ones see what we're doing and start to associate it, right? I was just telling Josh today. I'm sorry if I'm going off on too many tangents again, but
Okay, bro.
yeah, about the little guy. He loves student video. He loves being on camera now. And the other day he said, Dad, do you think I can do some videos to make money? Because the wife gets paid to do videos. And I said, what do you want to do? He said, I don't know, maybe like wear shirts or something. So we shot a video. We threw it up on Fiverr. He got booked for his first commercial coming up this weekend, which is pretty funny. Yeah, this is 5 years old, right?
Sheesh.
So yes, that's pretty exciting too, and I think that's where really everything comes into fruition. I know Don, you could speak on this most, having kind of the oldest kids, but really seeing kind of the early work you put on, and watching, like, oh my gosh, like they notice these things, they see these things, right? Not to go off on another one, but like the way I treat my wife, right? The way I kind of structure my family is, as they get older, you can see that they're catching on those things and they notice if it's good or if it's bad, right?
Absolutely, definitely, man. Yeah, because I know for me, that's what's dope, man. Is like you never know. I've been really on this kick lately, as far as I find myself trying to encourage my kids to go in the direction of where their passion and where they're gifted at. And so what I found is, more so than just using my words to encourage that, is being that I need to lead by example and pursue, my giftings and my passions, and allow them to see what that looks like, or if I want them to do the same. You know what I'm saying? Because like I look at my kids and I see how talented they are, and sometimes it frustrates me because they don't necessarily see what I see. And like at the same time, when I get done and I'm in my frustration, I realize that that's kind of like how God is with me. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, why aren't you going and fulfilling what it is that I've put in your hands? Why aren't you doing more with it? And
Mm.
so it's funny because that's kind of like what my live was this morning. It's like, man, how long are we going to tiptoe around, what I'm saying, what our calling is and what we know that we're gifted? Why are we thinking that there's something else, or we need another confirmation, or whatever the case may be, man? It's like, it's just, no, you need to just be and do what it is that God's called you to do. And so, yeah, that's awesome, man, to find, to hear that your son is got his first little gig, you know what I'm saying? All because, what I'm saying, he's seeing mom and dad fully pursuing what it is that God is put in front of you. So that's dope.
That is super
Yeah.
dope.
All right. So Victoria, you and Victoria ended up making the switch, right? I remember when you were working with PG&E, right? And then you ended up moving. Y'all made the switch. You went full time, stay at home dad. She swapped and she went to work full time. Um, to pursue her passion, which is being a esthetician. Um, at what point did you realize that you could use your gifts to help push her passion and her desires forward while being a stay-at-home dad? Because I know being a stay-at-home mom, dad, doesn't matter what it is a full-time job. It's a lot of work. But how did you? At what point did you decide to merge the two, and how do you execute that?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. That's a good question. I think so. The wife was doing it for a little while, and I know she loved it. She was pretty early in because she didn't, she kind of had to start at the beginning and kind of work her way up. And after working for about a year, me trying to pick up things here and there, it kind of started kind of funny. Is that one day she was saying how estheticians have Instagrams, right? And I've always been really into social media marketing. I've always loved the tool. I was on Instagram like really, really early, ended up kind of moving away and kind of did my own thing. But I always just loved the opportunity of what people could do there, right? So I was always helping other people, giving that bird's eye view of their social media and how to, build their business better, if it's an influencer or whatever it may be. And I've always been kind of real hands-on and kind of always had my eyes to like what's next, right? Even if I never utilized it, I was always watching and studying, right? I really love music is really kind of how it started, watching all that to kind of help music artists market, and social media is the best way to do it. So one day she was like, hey, a lot of estheticians have Instagrams. I'm going to start doing some videos and stuff like this. And so I was like, okay, yeah, do your thing. And she started doing it. And I'm such a perfectionist when it comes to video, as she was using her iPhone. And I was just so unhappy about the quality. And I was like, this is just like embarrassing, right? Like, how do you do a video like that, right? Because she's like, oh, can you shoot it of me? And then she'd give me her iPhone. And I'm like, I refuse to do photo and video of you with an iPhone, right?
Never.
Yeah, and at the time, my video stuff was pretty rough. I didn't have any lighting before the backdrop. I was always running and gunning, right? And so then I kind of jumped into the space. She wanted me to help with her Instagram. I'm like, all right, let me look through people giving face massages and facials, and so I started looking through, and I noticed a niche in the market. I noticed that nobody was doing high quality, right? There was lots of estheticians, lots of people posting. It was space was bigger than I thought it was. I was also kind of wrong because I was like, no one follows these people, but they do. And then I realized that there was a lack of quality. So I said, all right, well, now I found the niche. So I sat down with her one night and I said, I'll jump into this and give it everything, but you can't post iPhone videos or photos anymore, right? And so for her, it was really scary of like, well, that's what everybody does, right? Like if I post it, I'm going to be the only one in the space that has these professional quality photos, and that's not what works, Chris. Everything works really well with, and nothing against her. It was just she was locked in on the space, right? And then I was also terrified because I never had lighting before and never used a backdrop, never really recorded audio. So we slowly kind of built out the in-home studio, bought some lighting, bought a backdrop, and started doing some kind of explainer videos of her just, kind of teaching treatments, teaching quick tips about, skin tips for women. And I was really trying to hit a market that a lot of estheticians weren't, and really going right to the consumer. A lot of times estheticians, and a lot of times a lot of business, sometimes people get so hooked up, like wrapped up in the niche, is a lot of their content starts getting centered towards other people like them, and not the people who they're selling to. Right. So for estheticians, they'd be making jokes about when a client leaves the room like this, right? Clients aren't sitting there watching that like, that's hilarious. I like when I make a mess of the room and don't say anything. Right. So we started that. And then immediately it just felt so good. It was the first time my wife and I have ever really done something together, right? Where we put Jace to bed, our little guy to bed, and I set up the entire lighting at 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. She's writing scripts. I'm helping her write scripts and tweaking things because, of course, at the time, too, she was writing very general, and us nailing in how to put out the message better, right? It's much more than a high-quality video. It's the message that matters. But yeah, so then as soon as we started, I felt a little bit fulfilled again. It's really what gave me the fire to get back going, because it was like, oh, well, it was me tricking myself. It's for her. I want to help her. And really it was giving me myself that push yourself out of your comfort zone again, do something you've never done and mess up a lot, right? Those first, if you went back and saw those first 6 videos, like it looked like you shot on an iPhone, it feels like, right? They were really, really rough for a while. But yeah, and then eventually just turned into something that was really our whole day is, okay, it's 8 p.m. Let's get ready. Like, what are we doing tonight? Right. She's working her job to come home to do what she loves to do, is shoot videos. Right. But yes, that's kind of how it kind of happened. And then from there, with my kind of social media marketing background and understanding marketing really well, took the videos and then kind of really took her whole Instagram, and then did all the marketing for it, which is, I'm sure Josh was segueing into kind of where we are now with social media.
Yeah, for sure. We can go to that. Unless any of y'all got any questions in the meantime, D or John?
Oh, no, man, I can totally relate because I actually have done some editing for an esthetician. Actually, a family member of mine has an esthetician business out in Texas. So I'm understanding how the esthetician market kind of works. So not only does she like do the services, but she makes products as well. And so like helping her market like different products, and they're coming up with like esthetician boxes with different things she can package together. Like I totally get the world that you're talking about. But like I totally get what you're saying, where I remember when I bought my first camera, my mentor was like, did you buy a point and shoot camera or did you buy what I told you to buy, kind of thing? And I'm like, well, I think I need to get better. Do you feel like, and I've heard the same point too, coming from different social media influencers like a Gary Vee, that'll be like, don't worry about having the best camera. Don't worry about it. Just bring your phone camera out and start recording. Like how much has your professional level or like your professional production value, how much do you think that's added to your noticeability, if that makes sense? Do you think just because it's better, or do you think it's been more so strategy?